Within the towering walls of Europe's majestic cathedrals, under the gilded domes of its grandest opera halls, a rare and bewildering magical voice once resonated. It was a voice that defied the laws of nature, one that promised glory and fame. But it came at a price beyond imagination. This is the story of Castrati singers. The roots of this musical history can be traced back to the 400s. However, it wasn't until the 1500s that the practice began to flourish. This shift was largely motivated by the Catholic Church. Scriptural passages in the New Testament, which prohibited women from speaking in church, ultimately motivated the Church to ban women from singing within its sacred spaces. This presented a dilemma for church music. Young boys, with their unbroken voices, were initially used to hit the high notes needed for soprano and alto parts. Yet, this solution was far from perfect. The brief nature of a boy soprano's career was a significant drawback, as the onset of puberty would inevitably deepen their voices, altering the high voice required for church music. Ultimately, the Church's solution was to employ castrati singers. These were male singers who were castrated as young boys in order to prevent their voices from ever changing. Even as these boys grew into men, their high voices were forever preserved. This allowed them to fulfill the vocal requirements of church music, thus becoming the preferred singers for the most prestigious church choirs and garnering them fame and fortune. However, the Church needed to find families who were willing to have their young boys castrated. The practice of castration found its roots in the most severe conditions of poverty. By the late 16th century, with many Italian families teetering on the brink of starvation, castration emerged as a gamble for survival. Desperate to secure a potentially prosperous future, impoverished families would often make the harrowing decision to volunteer one of their sons to undergo the procedure, hoping he might rise to fame as a castrato and lift his family out of destitution. The process itself was fraught with danger and immense stress. Boys who showed early promise in singing were taken to backstreet barber surgeons. In these crude and secretive operations, the boys would be submerged in hot baths infused with herbs, a primitive attempt to ease what came next. Under the numbing haze of opium, the boys would endure the grim reality of castration. The procedure was barbaric by any standard, crushing the testicles, or in some cases, removing them entirely by making incisions in the groin and cutting the spermatic cord. It was a brutal answer to the Church's musical dilemma, and a stark example of the lengths to which humanity has gone in the quest to escape from poverty. The stark reality is, many boys never woke up from the procedure, succumbing to too much opium or the infections that followed. Others were knocked out cold in a risky gamble to avoid the pain, often not to wake again. Despite this grueling and life-risking procedure, a castrato's future as a successful singer was not guaranteed. The harsh truth was that a successful career as a castrato was the exception, not the norm. For those who did not find favor in the fiercely competitive world of professional singing, life could be unforgiving. Many castrati who failed to secure a position in a church choir were left to navigate a society that offered them few alternatives. Without the ability to start a family or inherit property, some were forced into destitution or even sexual exploitation to survive. On the other hand, those who rose to fame enjoyed a life of remarkable privilege and luxury. Celebrated castrati singers like Farinelli and Senesino lived as celebrities, commanding vast sums for their performances, enjoying the patronage of the wealthy and influential, and influencing the musical tastes of the era. As the centuries turned, the world changed. The once celebrated castrati fell out of favor, their art seen not as a marvel, but as a macabre relic of the past. The opera houses and cathedrals that once echoed with their voices moved on to new styles, and the castrati became whispers of history. In the end, the castrati remind us of the complexities of our pursuit of artistic beauty. Their voices, once revered, now serve as a solemn echo of the past, a reminder of the lives forever altered in the name of art and spectacle.